Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar presentation, Considerations for Your CMS in 2022 and Beyond, brought to you by Acquia. I'll hand it over to our presenter, Tammy Perlstein, a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Acquia.
Thank you for that introduction, Lucy and DZone. Let's talk about considerations for your CMS in 2022. I'm Tammy. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Acquia, and I'll be your presenter today. Before we take a look at considerations for your CMS in 2022, let's take a look at the evolution of content management. The past 2 years have been filled with new challenges and expedited timelines. This graphic from marketunis.com illustrates the wrecking ball that was COVID-19 and the global pandemic. The cartoon reads, "Digital transformation is years away. I don't see our company having to change anytime soon." Now, as we all learned, the global pandemic drastically accelerated pre-existing trends and forced organizations to modernize rapidly to meet new challenges, especially when it comes to content management. While most organizations prior to COVID-19 would state that digital transformation is a top priority, the global pandemic expedited the immediate need for digital transformation as organizations were forced into digital-only channels, many of which had to rethink their business plans and how to engage with customers in a new and unfamiliar way. 2 years into the pandemic, Forrester analysts state that 45% of businesses state that accelerating their shift to digital business over the next 12 months still remains one of the main priorities for organizations. Businesses are still transforming digital strategy and learning how to connect with their customers in an impactful and meaningful way via digital channels. So what are the key accelerators driving this rapid digital transformation? There are really 3 key components here. The first being that organizations are being forced to connect with customers via digital-only channels, forcing organizations to rethink their content management systems. The second being that customers' desires are changing and they're looking to transact, research, and buy products and services digitally. And the third is that organizations look to support the digital buyer with more content on products and services at every stage of their buying journey. So how does this affect your team? Well, there's an increased time that your team is spending creating and managing pages as your digital footprint grows and becomes even more complex. There's also an increased amount of content needed to create meaningful digital experiences to connect with your customers at every stage of their buying journey. And lastly, there's an increased need for agility to enable more efficient content creation processes to facilitate closer collaboration across your marketing and IT teams. But as your customer needs grow, your resources and your teams have remained the same, but your teams are expected to deliver even more. So how do you fill this gap? According to Forrester, organizations are stating that they're promoting closer collaboration between IT and marketing teams to develop technology-driven solutions for the business that are able to fill this gap between customer needs and the limited bandwidth available. However, Forrester analyst reports show that organizations are still struggling to maintain strong processes and ongoing coordination between the 2 organizations. So how are you able to continue to drive your business's digital strategy forward while maintaining strong coordination? You do so by enabling your teams to create composable digital experiences leveraging an agile CMS. Let's start off with a metaphor. Now, if you're in the Eastern time zone, like I am, I'm based in Boston, I hope you've already enjoyed lunch. Otherwise, this might make you a little hungry. You can think about your traditional CMS like you think of a traditional restaurant. The end-to-end experience all takes place and is delivered in a self-contained place. So you walk into the restaurant, you're greeted by a host, you're seated at a table, a server comes over and takes your order from the menu. That order is then given to the kitchen in the same restaurant where your food is then cooked. Your food is plated by a chef, brought to your table by the same server who took your order, and then you enjoy your meal, you pay for the experience, and you leave. The entire experience takes place in the one restaurant, in a self-contained place, and delivered to you by one entity, the restaurant. You can compare this experience to a traditional CMS. You're requesting a web page from a single CMS. The backend server is preparing the data. The front end is preparing the HTML, and that is displayed in your browser. You're consuming that entire experience from one source in one way. Now, a headless CMS can be thought of in a different way. You could place your order through any number of delivery services. Your order is then prepared by the restaurant, as it was before. The delivery service packages up your meal and brings it to your location via a variety of modes of transportation, and then you enjoy your meal, probably at home or wherever else you ordered to. And this is a modern experience that a lot of us, especially nowadays, are accustomed to. So there's a couple of different options here. You can order through the many, many apps we know exist today for the same restaurant. You can have a multitude of delivery methods, whether it be a car, a bike. You can eat your meal anywhere you like, whether at home or at a friend's, at your office, in a park. The only thing that takes place in that restaurant is the preparation and cooking of your food. So bringing this metaphor back to the CMS, that request, that order being placed, might be an API endpoint that's provided for this experience. Again, the backend service, in this case Drupal, will prepare the data to be delivered by that channel. Some application will render that data, that deliveries in the front end, that might be a custom JavaScript framework or something else. And then the UI of the application will display the results in any channel that it may be. Could be a traditional web browser, mobile browser, smart devices, etc. So this is how we can understand the differences between the traditional and headless approaches. Now that we've taken a look at the evolution of content management systems, let's discuss the roadblocks in digital content delivery. Now, as headless CMS has grown in popularity due to a multitude of capabilities, I really want to just talk through about 7 of them, or 6 of them, my apologies. So the first one being multi-channel delivery. Now this enables your teams to deliver content on mobile, web, IoT, smart TVs, Alexas, and Apple Watches. There's also application flexibility. Native apps, React apps, JS flavor of the week. Really a ton of flexibility here. It also enables you to be future ready. You can change the application without rebuilding your entire CMS. Your developer has full control as the experience is tied directly to code, and there's simplified authoring. The authors create the content, they don't manage the experience. And lastly, single content repository. You can support multiple applications and channels. However, headless CMS is not a perfect solution for every project or every organization. And this is because the experience is tied to the code. So code deployments are required to change the experience. This then creates a lack of business user control, as the business user will have limited control of the experience due to a limited technical knowledge. It's a very complex architecture. It's a ton of moving pieces and external services. And there's also a risk of higher total cost of ownership. Costs will scale up with usage and third-party tools. This also requires highly experienced developers in order to avoid security issues and technical debt. So how do you decide if traditional or headless is right for your organization? In order for your team to unlock productivity, you'll have to answer that question. The answer we found is with a hybrid CMS. As we discussed earlier, it's important to understand that in a traditional CMS, the CMS powers the content and the experience, while headless powers only the content, and the channel with which you deliver the content can vary. It's also important to understand who owns what steps of the content delivery experience. The marketer, typically the content owner and author, focuses on creating pages filled with content to engage with and nurture prospects and customers at every stage in their customer journey, while the developers will be focused on the back end, configuring sites, focusing on architecture, security, innovation, and enabling the marketer to deliver the right content on the right pages. Both approaches are valid and have pros and cons to each. The traditional requires low code, is configurable, has simple architecture, is tried and true, it's what we all know, and is what you think of when you think of a typical web page. While Headless requires high code, provides developers with the freedom and a flexible architecture, it's cutting edge and future focused, and it's what you think of when you think of content being delivered on all types of apps and IoT. Now, for the marketer, the content owner, you require the ability to separate the content and experience from the code so that you're able to create and update content efficiently without workflow inefficiencies bogging you down. This requires a low-code, no-code set of tools that enables you to focus on the content and not the code. The solution, a traditional CMS with a low-code composable platform. For the developer, the code is directly tied to the experience. Developers require stability, service-based architecture, and modularity. You require the stability that tying the experience to the code provides, as a high-code experience is primarily managed by the developers. The solution being a component-based JS framework and API services, or in other words, a headless CMS. Now let's take a look at how to leverage both, enabling the marketers and the developers to achieve ultimate productivity and innovation for both teams. You have a traditional CMS experience with Drupal or Acquia CMS, or you can use it in a completely headless way, again, leveraging Drupal or Acquia CMS and a separate front-end application. But you can also use a hybrid application where you have Drupal acting as the backend and the front end for a traditional browser experience, while also providing a series of API endpoints that can be consumed by other applications in different ways. Custom front ends, smart devices, etc. All sorts of methods of delivery that can be used alongside a traditional browser-based experience rendered directly by the CMS. This enables organizations to unlock productivity through enabling your marketers with low-code tools, the traditional method, and providing flexibility to your developers with high-code components, the headless method, to achieve ultimate agility. So the next question is, how do I choose the right tools for the job? Well, Acquia supports both approaches equally well. While we don't sell traditional or headless, we can help you make the right choice for your project. Looking forward to the future and what your organization's requirements are for 2022 and beyond, we'll first take a look at the requirements for the marketers, then take a look at the requirements for the developers. According to Gartner research, 10% of marketing budgets are allocated to SEO. It's important to have the ability to drive higher search rankings, drive more traffic and faster websites, and you can do so with Acquia CMS. Digging even deeper into Acquia CMS, marketers will have the ability to optimize URLs, making it easier for users to get a better idea of what to expect from the web page and help with SEO rankings. Structure metadata by automatically adding meta tags to improve the ranking of your site in search engines. Easily create manual page redirects to avoid losing SEO ranking, and easily create sitemaps on your most important pages. Marketers will also have the ability to create content with low or no code. Acquia CMS ships with Site Studio, enabling marketers and business users to quickly and easily create new pages and update content in context to deliver exceptional customer experiences. You'll be able to create composable digital experiences, leveraging reusable components to build pages, increasing customer conversions at every stage of the customer lifestyle. There's no technical knowledge needed in order to deliver pages that your team requires once the platform and the reusable components have been built, expediting your time to market and increasing project velocity. You'll be able to create new pages quickly and quickly update existing content to support campaigns, events, and new launches using the drag and drop interface. You'll be able to preview real-time changes, leveraging the visual page builder. Enforce brand guidelines by defining predetermined colors, fonts, and styles, and easily extend your low-code components to integrate with Google Analytics, Google Maps, Acquia DAM or PIM, and Acquia Personalization. Content organization is critical to drive results, and Acquia CMS makes it easy to organize content models, types, and taxonomies. Because everything is reusable, there's fields for every need. You can create new forms easily once your form interface is created by your development team. and you can easily organize your content using our world-class taxonomy system. If you're in multiple regions, no problem. Acquia CMS makes localization of your content easy. We offer global language, so you're not limited to the places where your content can go. With Acquia CMS, you can natively install in 94 languages to deliver localized content to your audience, no matter where they reside. There's a translated interface, so in Acquia CMS, you can easily translate and remove all English text in the UI to make your UI friendly for all content creators. Multilingual content handling flexibility, configuration text translation, and multilingual sitemaps. With enterprise search, you'll be able to enable your customers to quickly find the most relevant content to prevent users from disengaging with your digital experience. Make it easy for your visitors to discover content to keep them engaged. Acquia Search supports 800 indexes to provide a more expansive search of all content on your site. Auto-scaling search platform that increases with traffic. Highly available search, so you won't have to be worried about downtime. And a fully managed search platform. And we know how important it is to have the ability to integrate with your current Martech stack. So quickly and easily integrate with your existing stack to drive cohesive digital experiences and make the most of your digital content. We provide personalization, commerce framework, and content hub. Turning to the developer team, we'll be looking at the CMS features that you'll be requiring. So similar to the marketer, you'll be looking to easily structure content, again, with everything being reusable, fields for every need, forms your way, and organic organization. However, you'll also be looking for low-code tooling to allow your authors to assemble unstructured content from a list of blocks, content, and web components, and multiple output options such as cards, teasers, full-page content, and line item data. Hybrid headless content to power your entire organization. We're API first, not API only, so developers get the full power and flexibility of a headless CMS, and authors get low-code publishing. Truly the best of both worlds. With JSON API support out of the box, you have full support for the JSON API coming standard, not just for content, but menus, taxonomies, users, media assets, and more. If you prefer GraphQL, we support that as well. So there's full support for GraphQL available with multiple options. We have web components with low code. Headless is necessary. We all know that. It's what we're looking for in the future, but it's not sufficient. So when you need a low code solution for non-developers, we've got you covered as well. We have a visual endpoint builder, decoupled menus that let your authors manage both content and menus. You can create custom REST endpoints, and we have JavaScript resources available as well. Whether you're working with React, Vue, Next.js, Gatsby, Vanilla.js, or the next great thing, our developer portal has resources and starter kits to help kick things off. We also have a fully composable architecture. Lots of content management systems claim to be composable or modular, but how many actually have 100 integrations? With Drupal, one of the largest open source communities on the planet, you can choose from 10,000 plus extensions and integrations. You can assemble and evolve your CMS to meet the needs of today and tomorrow. There is no such thing as future-proof, but composability means you can be future-ready. We'll offer you project templates. We're modular by design, the opposite of monolithic. You'll be able to build multiple sites from a single code base. Everything is swappable and a modern OOP stack. Now, building amazing web applications is no longer enough. You'll also need to ensure they're fast, delivered from the edge, and capable of handling extreme traffic bursts like the Super Bowl or NBC Olympics. So we've made caching easy. We've made one of the hardest problems in tech a lot easier with one of the most advanced caching systems available and ready to go out of the box. We also have multiple caching strategies to choose from. We provide CDN support with purging, turnkey progressive web application features like add to home screen, prefetching data, and offline content access, static site generation, JS, CSS aggregation, and big pipe, so you're able to deliver page content faster by sending cached content first and streaming the personalized content as it's rendered later. The big pipe technique is implemented in core and integrated with the provided caching methods. And lastly, authenticated user caching. Now, with the right developer workflow tools, a developer can write more code, make fewer mistakes, and innovate faster than anyone else. With 100% cloud-based development tools, you'll have everything you need from the get-go. We've partnered with GitLab, coupling our support of open source and our belief in working with the best. Acquia has partnered with GitLab to bring the best developer tools to the Acquia platform. We offer automatic updates, creating merge requests with the updates and a QA environment for you. Just review and accept. Now you can get back to the fun stuff of innovating and focusing on the future. Code directly in the cloud with Cloud IDE, as Cloud IDE is everything a developer would need and integrates deeply with the Acquia platform. Full CI/CD process, code scaffolding to help generate standard boilerplate structure for your code following best practices, and Lando integration for local development. We've partnered with Lando to provide an Acquia-specific recipe for local development. Your machine, your way, the right way. And we offer rock-solid application security. As we know, security threats are constantly on the rise and every application is a target. With threat prevention, security processes, and world-class application design patterns, your Drupal applications are fortified from day one. We offer role-based access control, advanced security features, secure by design, an expert security team backing you, module security coverage. Many eyes means bugs can't hide, leveraging the millions of Drupals in the Drupal community, millions of developers in the Drupal community, and a steward program and risk mitigation. And last but definitely not least, the Drupal community is one of the largest open source communities in the world, providing an open source backend framework for at least 14% of the top 10,000 websites worldwide. We offer more than 1 million developers within this community, so you're never alone. Decades of evolution with over 20 years of expertise, a diverse and inclusive community, offering conferences and camps to learn more and advance your skills and understanding, and a developer resource portal. So if you're looking for more information, I've offered up this ebook, Why this Hybrid CMS is Becoming the CMS of Choice Among Marketers. It's just one of many pieces of content that we've created as an additional resource for you to leverage as you learn more about hybrid CMS, traditional versus headless, as you make decisions for your organization. And now we'll jump into a Q&A session. So I'll wait for the group to submit some questions and we'll go through a couple as we have a few minutes. So it looks like we've had one viewer submit the first question. The question is, how should we determine which pieces of our experience should be delivered in a traditional versus headless manner? And that's a great question. So as we discussed, it's really understanding the advantages of both traditional and headless. So what I charge you with thinking about is who the content owner is. If the content owner is the marketer, you'll want to leverage a low-code driven architecture so the content owner will have access to the content with little to no technical knowledge needed, which would be a traditional focus. If the content is developer owned, a high code architecture will make sense, as they'll be focused on developing code that is tied to the experience and not focusing on a specific delivery channel. We'll wait on a couple other questions to be submitted. Okay, another question from the group. Does Acquia CMS support headless use cases? Another great question. So Acquia is releasing ACMS headless in beta this quarter. We are noticing from our customers, we've listened to feedback, we are understanding the market, talking with analysts, and we see that customers are really looking to move to a headless architecture and to be able to have that leveraged as an option with traditional, as we talked about today, for a hybrid approach. So we will be releasing Acquia CMS Headless, like I said, this quarter. So definitely keep an eye on that release. It will really enable your organizations to leverage Headless in a faster, safer, in a faster and safer way, and increase your time to market. So definitely keep an eye on that. Keep an eye out for that. And looks like we have time for one more question if anyone wants to submit another one. Oh, it looks like we have one more. As you mentioned, with 10% of budgets going to SEO from the marketing team, how does Acquia products support SEO? So we talked about this a little bit earlier in the presentation. Just to review, Acquia will enhance and maximize your SEO efforts. So it's going to help you respond to the increasing customer need to research and buy services and products online. As your customers are looking to research specific topics or research your specific brand organization, Acquia will enable you to optimize your URLs, to be able to structure your metadata by automatically adding meta tags to improve your rankings on search engines. And this will ultimately help you avoid losing your ranking by easily creating manual page redirects and easily create sitemaps on your top performing pages, most important pages. So ultimately, not losing that SEO ranking, improving your customer engagement online, and making sure that you're able to provide the right content to the right people at the right time via your digital engines. Looks like that's all we have time for today for question and answer. Of course, if you have any questions moving forward, you can feel free to submit those and we'll get back to you. But thank you again for your time today. Lucy, I'll hand it back to you.
All right, with that, DZone would like to thank Tammy for a great presentation. And DZone would also like to thank Acquia for providing the audience with a great webinar. And lastly, thank you to everyone who attended today. We hope you learned something new that will help you in your developer career.